to start every time.
I love it.
Remind me to tell you.
I know. I just said to Jen, I have to tell you something funny after. I'm like, oh, okay, now we're going to think about it the whole time. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
It's Friday again.
I know. It's just going so fast.
I feel like it's weird because it goes by super fast, but then at the same time, you're like, that was a really long time ago that we did this. I don't know. It's like, it's sort of like parenting. Parenting feels the same way to me. Like it goes by really fast, but it also feels really
the days are long and the years are short, right?
I also, we're angled a little different, and like my family is very
Hey, what's up? It's a good-looking family right there. They're so cute.
Jen and I have been talking a lot about having a future office space someday.
Yes.
And so that
bring it up.
I'm like,
so excited. Manifesting it currently.
So ready for that.
Yes.
But we are here today on Feng Shui Friday to talk about career.
Yes.
We're going to start by hitting all the big ones. Money, career, health, overwhelm. So this week is about career. And we have an awesome document for you, which we're now compiling into blog posts. We're getting this down.
Yeah, we are. We're doing good.
Figuring it out. We're listening to our people. We're studying how to make a good business, and it's happening. So we now have a blog, which will connect you to, actually you can watch on YouTube. There's so many ways you can connect, but we have a great PDF for you with 5 amazing tips for your career and how to feel good about it. And we'll just cover a couple.
Yeah.
We have, 20 minutes, half hour. So let's just see what we can cover. So I will let you start. And I'd say I messed with my hair on the backwards camera.
I know.
My wet, just showered hair.
I can't touch my hair right now.
I will let you start. And I'd say, of course, we're talking to people who love their career and want to up it and like get a promotion or become the boss or whatever. People who want to become entrepreneurs. People who are entrepreneurs and want to up the game. And then people who have jobs like that they love or don't love,
right? But
still want to perform at their best in.
Right.
That's like in my mind. I think that covers like but it's like all the realms of career in my mind. Like you might work in a firm, you might work for an employer, you might work for yourself. It doesn't matter. All of this is going to apply.
Right. Exactly. Right. So career in Feng Shui, your career area is also defined by life path. Right. So we're not specifically going to talk about the career area, though in Feng Shui, there are certain areas throughout your whole home that are that register with certain areas, and career is one of them. Right. There's love, there's wealth, there's family, creativity, fame. Am I missing? Knowledge and self-cultivation and helpful people, but career is one of them. So, but one of the main things, you don't have to know that information to access the beauty of Feng Shui. And so the main thing that I try to tell people in thinking about career and life path is keeping the pathways in your home clear, right? So the hallways, the entryways, the, like the transit accesses all through your house, there's like little paths through your whole house, right? Keeping those open and clutter-free so that you're not tripping over anything, you're not stumbling over anything, nothing's blocking your way, and just having that open flow throughout your whole house, because that is basically, your career is fluid, right? You go from one thing to the next, you're growing, hopefully.
Not me! I don't go from one thing to the next.
Me either. So, it's a form of growth, it's a form of moving through life. And so if you have because your home is a reflection of your circumstances in your life, keeping those pathways clear is a great way to open up that flow in your life.
And I was like, Jen arrived and I said, 15 minutes ago, I was like in a panic because my house was a mess. It just had like some, shin guards in the hallway and some dog fur in the corners. But the little bit of pickup that was in my way, like I was stepping over a game piece and
how many times did you step over?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It's probably like this big, and you stepped over it like 15 times, irritated by it every single time. So just grabbing it and putting it away, right?
But it's so quick. It took me like 5 minutes to go, that feels better.
Right.
And I felt like the energy could move again, whereas before I was like...
distracted by the chaos.
And frustrated. Frustrated.
Right.
Yeah. Feeling like kind of things were in the way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You can't get focused on the things that you want to be focused on because you're so distracted and overwhelmed by those things. And then literally it took you 5 minutes to clear the path, to clear the way, to clear your distraction, to clear your overwhelm, and to be able to put yourself back into an empowered state and back into forward momentum.
It's always faster than I make it.
Right.
So it's like your to-do list. I told a few clients this week, like, write down everything you do, everything you need to do. You'll probably be surprised that by the fact that although it's a lot, it's actually less than you think it is. Especially when you start organizing out where to put it. You're like, oh, well, that's not that big a deal. I'm going to do that on Friday. That's not that big a deal. I'm going to do that.
And the ability to create the list so that you can get it out of your brain because it spins, right? It spins in your brain.
And that's what happens when my floor gets like stuff all over it. Right. I'm like, this is so bad. I can't. I'm so frustrated. And then it like takes 2 seconds to clean it.
And the sense of accomplishment that you get, not only from cleaning the space, right?
It's true.
Right? And then also making the list and being able to cross things off. Like I'll create silly things sometimes just to have something on my list so I can feel accomplished and cross it off, right?
You're like,
done.
Shower, done.
So, that sense of accomplishment, as humans, we need to experience it, right? We need to feel like we're making progress in our lives. And so just doing, enabling yourself to be able to do that is huge.
And it fuels the next thing.
It does.
It fuels checking the next thing off the list.
Into everything that you do. And going back to the game piece that you, stepped over 100 times, right? Before you actually picked it up. Just being in the mindset of like, when you do see the game piece, checking it right in your brain and being like, I'm going to pick that up right now. I'm going to take care of that right now. I'm not going to delay.
Because I'm not that kind of person.
Right?
How you do everything.
I'm not going to
how you do one thing
procrastinate.
is how you do everything.
Exactly. So like telling the universe whenever, that opportunity comes up to take action for forward momentum, the universe responds. It's like, oh, okay, then I'm going to give you something awesome to do next time, So but if you constantly are procrastinating about certain things, even the little game piece, then the next opportunity doesn't show up.
Yep. All right, let's switch gears away from Feng Shui a little bit, although it's never away because it's all the same. It's all that working on your exterior space and your interior space and figuring out how to live a purposeful life. That's the whole point. It's like the ins and the outs. So my career tip that I want to offer to anyone who's in whatever your work is, even if you don't necessarily consider it a career yet, whatever your job is, whatever your work is, whatever your 5 pieces of work are, just take a minute and ask yourself, how can I infuse me? The light is so weird right now.
Clouds just rolled in.
How can I infuse me into what I'm doing? Right? Like into, it doesn't matter if it's lawn care or if it's house cleaning or if it's working in a law firm or network marketing. Like, what is it that's special about me that I can bring to this to make it, first of all, like more enjoyable. But then also to be of service, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be cleaning toilets all day. But if you bring an element of you and you, well, I talk a lot in Feng Shui about like Jen will give us something to do, like a thing. And I'm always like, make sure you have a thought attached to it. Because when I attach a thought to the action, it's so intentional and so purposeful. Like I am cleaning this toilet to make more room for whatever the thing is, to clean up the da-da-da in my life. When I do that, everything starts to shift. When I do the work that I need to do, whether it's inside the home, outside the home, with clients, without clients, with an element of me. And for me, my intention is to like, what I want to bring to everything I do is how can we bring growth, right? Like how can we infuse this with growth? How is me cleaning a toilet allowing all the people who use it to experience a relief and space that allows for growth? Like seriously, this is what my mind does. But it's so helpful. It's like, and obviously there's careers that are the connection is much clearer, but I want to prove that you can do it with anything as simple as cleaning a toilet. So let's say you are in a law firm. You know, what is the impact you want to make on the world? And how are you bringing that to your path? How are you attracting those clients in? How are you doing maybe pro bono work for that population? What is it that you want to bring to the job? Maybe you work in a coffee shop and you have a special tip jar that's only out when you're there. And it makes people smile because they're like, Jen's on duty. Right. And it has something about her is infused in that. So there's always a way to bring you to what you do. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. No matter what your work is, no matter what your career is, no matter what your profession is, no matter how many people you serve or see in a day, bring you to it and then over deliver. Just be like, I'm going to be the best damn toilet cleaner that ever walked the planet. Right? Like I am going to provide the absolute best service that these clients of mine need in the courtroom. Right. Or need in my coaching, or need in my fitness gym, whatever it is. So you have to know who you are and what you want to give to the world to be able to bring it to what you do. So take some time to just go, who am I and how can I be a little bit different? We all know that person who checks out at the grocery line and is a little bit different. And you're like, oh, so-and-so's working or so-and-so's bagging groceries because they bring them to it. Doesn't matter what they're doing. They bring themselves fully present to the work. Right. And they care.
Yeah. They do a better job and they, it shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to encourage you wherever you are at in your career, in your work, to bring you to it and just rock it. Rock it.
Yeah, I love that.
Value. Give more than you think is in the job description.
Absolutely.
Kids home. Summertime. All right, so we've got like clear your pathways. Think about who you are and what you want to bring to your career, whether it's a new career or one you've been in for a long time. What else? What's next? How are we inviting opportunity? Whether it's in a new, like we're looking for a new opportunity, or maybe we're just looking for new clients or new partnership or new office space, like whatever it is.
Right, exactly. I always start with the entryway, right? The entryway is a really powerful source of how you are presenting yourself to the world, right?
Giggle.
You have a story about that. And a lot of times it does fall in people's career areas, like it does.
Yeah,
because it's the center of the house. But like mine does not fall in the career area. But anyways, that's beside the point. But I like to recommend that people look at their homes, approach their homes as if they're a stranger, right? Go out to the street, make your way down the driveway, or if you live right on the street, step across the street and look at your house from that point of view. are you able to see the numbers on the house? Like if someone is looking for your home, can they find it really easily? Do they know what door to go to? Do you go to the front door? Do you go to the side door? Does it have your name on the house? You know, that sort of thing. And
because if someone's looking for your service, can they find you?
Can they find you? Right? Exactly. Yeah. So representing yourself out in the world that way, so that opportunity can find you, because I think that oftentimes we tend to hide, right? And so a lot of times people's doors that they use predominantly tend to be on the side of the house. So if you're a stranger, you know, can you find that entryway, or are you kind of tucked away and not so sure that you want to be seen by the outside world, right? Is there shrubs that are growing up and over the front of the house that make it difficult to see? Are there steps that aren't secure, that are rickety? Is there, you know, when you finally get to the door, is it in a state where you can actually open it all the way, right? Or is it painted shut? Or is there a couch in front of it? You know, a lot of times in New England, you know, because we use the side door so predominantly, that area where the front door is tends to become like a living space. And so people just like put their couches in front of it or paint it over or that kind of thing. And that's a big no-no. So let the door be able to open. So, and nothing, like it should be able to open all the way so that you can walk in and experience the space instead of having something tucked behind it that blocks the door, you know. So all of those kinds of things, you know, welcoming opportunity again is a reflection of, you know, if you're looking at your home and you're looking at the front door, are you welcoming opportunity with open arms? Are you inviting someone into your space? And are you inviting opportunity into your life? And another big thing is representing yourself, right? Like putting a little, like you were saying, putting a little piece of yourself or into your work, right? Putting a piece of you into your entryway, into the front door that represents like, this is who lives here, right? And putting your best foot forward, and this is who I am.
You had me do the entryway we will connect you to another Feng Shui Friday where I probably went on and on about this, but it was really hard for me to do my entryway, really hard, such resistance. But one thing I really wanted was those glass pots. Like I wanted that piece of, especially because I'm mostly the one who like decorates the house and like does the things. But Stuart feels really connected to his work as an artist. It doesn't even matter that it's glass. Like that is a piece of him. And I wanted that in the front of our house. Like, and so we have flowers in like the big glass. They're not actually glass. It's what you scoop the glass out of in a studio. But yeah, that was so important to me. And I think Jen was like, why are you waiting for these glass pots? I'm like, no, I really, really want these glass pots in front of my house.
Right.
But I wanted a piece of him in the front of the house. Like I wanted him to walk in and be like, oh, that makes me think of something that I love.
Right. And for him to be represented in the space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's something that's special to him, that's made him so much who he is. And really, that was really important to me. It meant waiting a little longer to make it happen, but I was like, no, I have the vision. And so many people have been like, those pots are so beautiful. Where are they from? And I'm just like, that's what I wanted. And this is a place of resistance. If you're like me, we all have places in our lives that we struggle. And I was in a beautiful circle of women on a boat, a mystic like canal yesterday. It was just amazing. And you know, a lot of the struggles that the other women were having were very different than mine, but like career is a place that I really like. There's a lot of stuff for me. So we all have stuff. So that doing that entryway created so much resistance for me. So anytime you're on a Feng Shui Friday or listening to our tips or reading our blog and trying to implement something and it creates a lot of resistance, just notice that. Just notice it and be like, there's something here. And you might have to go even deeper. And that's a great time to reach out to us and be like, this is like really like, why is it so emotional for me to keep my floors clean?
Right.
And you're like, well, it's not just about the floors. Why is it so emotional for me to move the couch? Why I'm like, no, there's nowhere else to put it.
Right.
You know, if you ever find yourself saying like, I can't do that in my house.
Right.
Like that's probably more. That probably is not the case. And I love Jen's so amazing at being like, well, what if you just, and you're like, oh man, yeah, that would work, but it still makes me resist. So I think that's just an important note for all Feng Shui Friday, all of these ideas, and it goes for the actual Feng Shui and then also the mind work. Like there are things you will want to do and things that you don't like. You might be like, I don't want to bring me to my career. I hate my career. The last thing I want to do is bring myself there. Well, that might be a sign that you should clear your entryway and welcome in a new career. But notice in all of your life where the resistance is, because it's just flashing at you. Like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. And when we do, it might take us a little while, but when we do, things really start to shift. And that's what Jen and I have gotten so good at. We're really good at that. Like, we might not be, you know, there's many, many goals we have ahead that we're ready to hit, you know, but we are really good at like figuring out what we want, knowing how to get there, making peace with the challenging things, making peace with the stress, finding ways to shift the energy, thinking new thoughts, creating new spaces. Like we do that work because it's so important for who we want to be in the world. And we're doing the work with you. Yeah. Like, even in our Connected Growth program now, like every week, Jen will put stuff up and we're like, oh, I'm doing it with you, right? Ladies. Like, I'm with you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, notice how you receive any information that you hear from us or anyone else, because it's telling you something.
Right. That's so important.
Even if you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Right?
Yeah. Why do you think it's dumb?
Why do you think it's so dumb? Because why don't you just be like, oh, it's not really my taste. You know, you might be like, oh, that's not really my style. Right? Like, I have other ways. Maybe I use tapping, or maybe I use Reiki to shift my energy. Like, you might have another way. But if your brain is going like, that's so stupid, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, probably is something in it that's trying to teach you a lesson. Like, it's trying to, maybe it's trying to teach you compassion, or like, it, you know, thinking that like politically, right? Like, there's a lot of things that like, well, that's so dumb. Well, what's it teaching you about who you are? And that's how all of the light is. So
I know it's getting dark again. Yeah. Yeah. I think the triggers are definitely, right. The most important thing to notice, whether it's a good trigger or a bad trigger, or, you know, just the reaction. That thought awareness. And
I'm an introvert, so I'm an extroverted introvert, and that I like, you know, I'm right on the edge, but I have huge social anxiety.
Which you would never know. You were telling me that last night. I was like, what?
I was like literally just trying to get ready to drive to Connecticut and go on this boat ride. And I knew two of the women really well, like felt so good to just hug them and see them. But like massive social anxiety about like getting ready for this thing. I'm like leaning into my teenager, like, what should I do? What am I forgetting? Maybe I should just stay home. Like, all the stories. And like, I knew I didn't take that as a reason to stay home. I saw my own resistance, and I knew in my heart that I was supposed to be there for a reason. And I pushed through the anxiety to get there, and it was amazing. The whole experience was lovely. But sometimes resistance is like, safety, don't go, something bad's gonna happen. But sometimes it's just like, this feels scary. but not that scary, right?
Right. It's
like,
a chance to grow and expand.
I was going to be with amazing women on a boat at sunset. Like, clearly that was like a safe thing. I was just freaking out about it. But that taught me so much about who I am because I noticed it.
Right.
And like, that's just the whole message. It's like, just start noticing things and just being curious about them. Like, why am I so anxious? What's going on here?
Right.
What tools can I use to not just crawl? I literally said, I just want to crawl back in bed. Can I just crawl back in bed?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do in that moment.
Right. Exactly. And that's why, with Feng Shui, doing the work that we do with our clients and combining the two, that thought awareness, but also using your space to be aware of, it's another tool of looking from the outside in and, looking from the inside out. And that tool of, why does this area get cluttered so easily? Or why does everybody pile their shoes right here? Like, why are we always tripping over this? That kind of thing. Because that energy shows up in the form of a physical manifestation of like stinky shoes and, dirty dishes and clutter and papers and, from school and all that kind of stuff. And so there's hot spots. I call them hot spots in your home where you may find it difficult to clear those things out, or you clear it out, you feel fantastic, and then it like piles back up again. And so noticing those areas and why, and just like you said, noticing the resistance around doing your entryway, right?
Yeah.
What's that all about? Why is that there? And so it's just another really incredible tool that will help promote your progress and your forward growth.
I think like my dishes, I've talked about how Jen got me on this dish train where my counters, like most of the time, cleared off, dishes are done. Not always put away, but often put away. And it's a great example because I could easily say, like, I have a family of 5, dirty dishes are just always going to be there. Leave me alone.
Right.
And I did that for many, many years.
Yes.
And then when I really started to think about and understand why that space was so important to me in my life, and that I really do want to project myself out. And so for me, that's like fame and reputation. So I really do want to be seen in the world because I have something to give. And now my dishes are always done because I felt the resistance. I wanted to overcome it. Like, I was like, I'm done with that. I'm done with that.
Hiding, right?
I'm done.
Yeah. And so, then relating it to that particular area of your house, the fame and reputation area, that's why it's so great to be able to know where those zones are, because you're like, why is this a difficult area for me? Oh, it's because I hide. I don't want to put myself out into the world. And that's going to affect my career. It's going to, affect how I get out into the world and how people see me and the amount of money I make, and it affects everything, right? So being able to understand that that's your fame and reputation area and that you're doing some form of self-sabotage to not allow yourself to move forward in that direction, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to clean my dishes, right? Because I want to move through this. Right. I want to move through this resistance. I want to move through this story, this fear, these doubts, and I'm going to get there by cleaning my dishes. How beautiful is that?
And somehow the habit sticks. The habit sticks because I've done the internal work around the resistance.
Yes.
Because you can create new little habits like that, but if you really want it to stick, you've got to do the internal work. Really it's not just about, there's something to be said for repeating the behavior over and over and over again, like how many days to create a new habit. But even that, like, you got to do the internal work for it to stick if you want it to stick.
So understanding the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
and being
it's a combination.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay, awesome.
We hit the half-hour mark, which is always a good place to.
We sure did.
A lot of people popped in and out, so maybe there was no volume on this video or something. Maybe. Whoopsie. Oh well. No. Hopefully it all went through. You guys can let us know when you watch the replay, because we're happy to support you through whatever comes up. All right. Anything else? We're good.
We're good. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Okay. Bye.